My name is Clara. I'm 29 years old. And the day my parents handed my sister the keys to a brand new modern house was the same day they handed me a gate covered in rust. It was supposed to be a fair division. That's what my mother kept saying. We were standing outside the new suburban property, white walls, glass balcony, smart security system, freshly planted lawn. Everything smelled like fresh paint and new beginnings. My sister, Amelia, looked exactly where she belonged. Perfect dress, perfect smile, already planning housewarming parties in her head. My dad placed the shiny silver keys in her palm. Applause, photos, tears. Then my mother turned to me. "And for you," she said gently, "we're giving you the old family mansion." She said it like it was sentimental, like it was romantic. It wasn't. The mansion sat 20 minutes outside town. Massive, dark, silent. The roof tiles were cracked. Ivy crawled up the walls like it was trying to swallow the place whole. Windows were dusty. The iron gates groaned when I pushed them open. No one had lived there in years. People in town called it the forgotten house. Some even called it haunted. Amelia whispered, half joking, "At least you'll have space." But we both knew what this really meant. She got comfort, I got responsibility. She got ready-made, I got repair. The first night inside the mansion was unsettling. Every floorboard creaked, every hallway echoed. But beneath the dust and silence, I felt something else. History. This house had belonged to our great-grandfather, a man everyone described as quiet but brilliant. He had built half the old town's infrastructure, bridges, roads, warehouses. Yet somehow, over time, the mansion became a burden. Too big, too old, too expensive to maintain. Just like me, I used to think. Too quiet, too serious, too overlooked. While Amelia posted pictures of her sunlit kitchen and designer furniture, I spent my weekends cleaning chandeliers covered in decades of grime. I opened windows that hadn't been touched in years. I sorted through rooms filled with antique furniture, old paintings, wooden trunks. And then one evening, while clearing out the study, I found something strange. Behind a loose bookshelf panel, a locked metal box. Inside were documents, property records, original land maps, old contracts signed nearly 70 years ago. And one thing stood out. The mansion wasn't just a house. It sat on protected heritage land. At first, I didn't understand what that meant, so I did what I always do. I researched. I consulted a lawyer quietly. Turns out, because the land was classified as a historical preservation zone, it qualified for government restoration grants, tax exemptions, tourism partnerships, even film production rights. No one had bothered to check. To everyone else, it was just an old, unwanted building, but legally, it was an asset, a powerful one. Months passed. I restored the exterior carefully, preserving its architecture, cleaned the gardens, repaired the grand staircase. Word started spreading online. A blogger posted photos, then a local history page shared it. Soon, people were asking if they could visit. Photographers wanted shoots there. A small film production company contacted me about renting it as a location. And that's when everything shifted. Meanwhile, Amelia's new house started showing cracks. Not physically, but financially. The mortgage my parents co-signed became stressful. Property taxes increased, maintenance costs piled up. New doesn't always mean stable. One Sunday, my parents asked to visit the mansion. They walked through the front doors slowly. Sunlight poured through the restored stained glass windows. The floors shined. The gardens bloomed. It didn't look haunted anymore. It looked majestic. My mother's lips parted slightly. My father ran his hand across the polished wooden railing. "This place feels different," he whispered. "It always was," I replied softly. Then I showed them the contracts, the film agreement, the tourism partnership, the annual projected income. Silence filled the hall. Amelia, who had come reluctantly, looked around like she was seeing it for the first time, not as a burden, but as an opportunity she had never been offered. My mom finally asked, "How much is it worth now?" I told her. Her hand tightened around her purse. It was worth more than the new house, more than they had expected, more than they had imagined possible. But here's the part that mattered most. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel revenge. I felt embraced. For the first time in my life, something overlooked had been recognized, not by them, by me. A year later, the mansion is fully operational as a historical venue. Weddings, film shoots, private events. I kept the name our great-grandfather gave it, because legacy isn't about what looks shiny, it's about what lasts. Amelia's house? They ended up selling it during a market dip. Funny how things balance out. Sometimes when people give you what they think is less, they're actually giving you something deeper, something rooted, something waiting for the right person to see its value. My sister got the new house. I got the old family mansion no one wanted. And